welcome back to my channel. Today is all about money, finances, saving for a house, for a property, for real estate, for assets. This is the important stuff that we all need to learn. Sadly, we don't learn about this stuff at school, so we turn to places like YouTube, and then you click on Jade Vanriel's channel and you watch. So we are about to sit down and talk about how you can save for a house. I don't know how long this video is going to be. I like to be informative, so grab a notebook and a pen and a cup of tea and get comfortable. First of all, I think many of us young people especially make this mistake of just thinking about the property price or the amount that we want to save for a deposit. That is not the amount that you should be saving for. You should also be saving for all the added costs around that. I had the figure of how much I wanted for a deposit in mind, and that was it. And little did I really think and realize that the deposit is only a fraction of what I'm going to need to actually buy a property. I'm also going to need to save for fees. I'm going to need to save for stamp duty. I'm going to need to save for my first month's mortgage. I'm going to need to save for any furnishing or decor or projects that I'm going to need to do that are vital for me to move in. First of all, how much is the property that you want? What sort of property are you looking for? Are you looking for a flat? Are you looking for a house? And in what sort of areas? And then you weigh all of those things out and then you think of your budget. So if you say, for example, found a flat that was 200 grand, and then you need to think about, well, how much deposit do I want to put down? I will always say the more you put down, the better for you in the long run. It will also be a lot easier sometimes if you don't have the best salary or the best credit and things just sort of weigh out. So if you can, put as much down as possible, but if you can't, there are different ways. People tend to say that it's between 5 and 10% is like the average sort of deposit. I put down a little bit more than that because I really wanted to, be in the best position I could, because at the time I was on a contract at work and I wasn't sure how that was going to play out. So let's say the property price is £200,000 and you want to save £10,000 for your deposit alone. You do not just save £10,000, you also save about 15 or even 20, as much as you can, because that 10,000 is for your deposit. You then have lawyer fees, mortgage broker fees, stamp duty. You may have your first month's mortgage payment. You may also have your first month's service charge and council tax. And then you also may need to buy things that you need, appliances, an oven, a microwave, cleaning products, furniture. So it's always best to try and, add another bulk on top of the deposit price. And so let's say you're saving for £15,000, right? £15,000 is how much you want to save and how much you will need to be comfortable when buying the house. So now you have a target amount to save. How are you going to save it? How? The first thing you really need to think about is how long you're willing to wait until you can buy the property. Is it in 1 year? Is it 2 years? Is it 3 years? Or is it 10? When you have this budget, you need to divide it by a year. I always find that that's the best thing. And remember, where you can do more, you can do more. So let's say your target is to buy a property in 3 years' time. You need to split that 15 grand or whatever it may be in 3 chunks, right? Then you need to decide how each year you are going to save to get that amount per year. There are so many different ways that we can save, and I think most of us tend to just go straight to a savings account because it's a savings account, or we just put money away in an extra current account and we're not earning anything off it. And realistically, they may be in really easy reach. I had a savings account that was linked to my current account, and when I went on my internet banking, I could see it. You want to make it hard for yourself to transfer the money. You do want it to be visible so that you can see somewhere how much you're saving, because that always adds to the drive. But you don't want to have the easy access of being able to take money out. Believe me, I've been there and I've gone back to square one quite a few times. Trust me, I would have had a house years ago if I didn't do that. Savings accounts, ISAs, normal ISAs, and help to buy ISAs. 3 different kinds of bank accounts that you guys can spread your money across. Now, you can have your monthly amount and put it in one account, or you can have your monthly amount and split it into different accounts. It's entirely up to you. In a Help to Buy ISA, you would basically put a sum of money in your account every month, starting with £1,200 to open the account, like to get started. And I think after about 3 or 4 months, you're then entitled to claim money back. So the longer you leave your money in there, the more you can tot up. You have to have a minimum of money saved in order for you to be able to claim back your money. So I couldn't use my Help to Buy ISA because I didn't have my money in the account for long enough to reach the threshold. So it ended up just being a place to store some of my money. I didn't have all of my money in there. So I had 2 normal ISAs that I had my money split in half. But when the Help to Buy ISAs came out, the beginning of last year, I then took a chunk and moved a little bit into there. But you do have a limit as to how much you can put in each month. So I guess that's how they sort of tame it, so they're not ending up giving you £10,000. I think the most you can claim at the end is 4 grand, but 4 grand for free. That extra 4 grand could be your fees, you know? So think about it like that. I would definitely recommend comparing different Help to Buy ISAs. From my knowledge, the best one at the moment is Nationwide, and that's the one that I had, but I couldn't use. But just to bear in mind that when you do your mortgage application to your solicitors and you want to use the money that you've saved in your Help to Buy ISA, there is a handling fee that the solicitor will charge you because they are going to an extra account. They will be speaking with the Help to Buy ISA bank to close your account and to, you know, claim your money. So if you are on a sort of long-term saving spree, then that's a definite option. Otherwise, normal ISAs are really good. There are obviously fluctuating rates nowadays, so I would definitely say to look at what the best rates are today, because I could say one thing now and it could be completely different next week if you happen to watch this video next week. So check them out. Always look for the best interest rate. And there are also savings accounts, but I personally prefer ISAs. I don't really know why. I think in my mind ISAs are like untouchable, whereas with my savings account in particular that I had, it was so easy access. So try and open accounts that you are not linked with already, that you won't have internet banking with, and they're all separate. Because I don't know if you're anything like me, but I have, obviously with internet banking, you have different login credentials for each one, and I don't remember them. So that's the best thing. If I want the money, I'd need to go into the bank for those kinds of accounts. That is how you need to train yourself. Like, it's off limits and you can't even reach it if you wanted to. That's how it needs to be. So you want to make your saving process fun. And I know that savings off the back of it never really seems fun. It seems like it's hard work. It seems like you're depriving yourself. I used all of those words at the beginning, but you have to make it fun. I started looking around at my behavior, at my spending habits, and thinking about areas that I could pull back on. So I pulled back on spending for lunches and buying coffee. So I started making food and bringing it into work for lunch, because we all know that prep and eat, they really do add up. Like, it's not cheap if you work in the city and those are your options. Also stopped spending in Zara. Zara was the place that took all my money. I do spend a lot of money going out, partying, on Ubers, going out to eat, on cocktails. You need to look at your life and realize that there are areas that are not helping you when it comes to saving. I know somebody who recently decided to stop renting a flat and decided to move into a bedroom in a house, and they were able to save hundreds of pounds each month just from doing that move. So are you renting a flat and realize that you have all this extra space that you're paying for that is really not of value to you? Can you sort of downgrade a little bit and sacrifice a little bit? Or can you move back home? Plenty of people do that. They move back home. There's nothing wrong with moving back home if you have a plan and you have, you know, reasons for it, like saving to buy your own property. So maybe that's an option for you. And if you already live at home, you have no excuse in terms of saving. I was living with family and I was paying rent. I was paying about 400 and something a month, so it wasn't loads, but it did still add up, of course, because that 400 could have gone towards saving for the house, but it also helped me get into the routine. But if you are in an even better situation of not having to pay anything at home, that money, set up a figure and think about putting that whole chunk away each month, and you're onto a really good start. Unfortunately, if you're not rich, you can't afford to keep up appearances and keep up a certain lifestyle and save for a house. It is a sacrifice, but it pays off in the end. So you will have to sacrifice a lot of things. But when you do start to see your money add up each month, trust me, you just want to do more and more and more. Short-term experiences and short-term happiness is only short-term. You go out to eat, you spend £50, and then you're back at home £50 less. So working out how much you want to save each month goes back to how much you want to save per year. So you sort of divide and conquer, you know, you divide that up by 12 months. But if you also want to go even deeper, you can save per week. We all know at the beginning of the year, there are always these sort of saving charts and saving challenges that spread the internet. They are very, very smart because they give you a way of saving without you really realizing that it's a lot of money, and also with you having a challenge, it's like it's fun, it's a game almost. The idea is you save a certain amount of money each week, and by the end of the year you will have thousands of pounds, believe it or not. There are charts that you sort of go up each week. So you start off on the first week of January with £1, then £2, then £3, then £4, then £5, and it goes on. By the end of that, you'll get over £1,000 just by doing that, adding £1 on each week. Then there are sort of more vigorous amounts, for example, £58 a week. So first week of January onwards, every single week. And you'll end up with something around £3,000 by the end of the year, just from saving £58 a week. The art of the game is to get your mind thinking that you're saving pennies. For example, £58 a week sounds a lot less than saving £232 a month, you know? And £232 a month, to be honest, for a lot of us, especially if we have a good job and we live at home, we probably spend that on food, going to restaurants a month, or on Ubers. So do you see where I'm going with this? Cutting back on those things could be your saving. Put some more on that, you know, do 68, do 78, do 100, whatever you can do, do it, and be realistic about what you can do. On the flip side is don't go overboard, because when you go overboard, you have a tendency to bounce back because you feel like this is not fun. Make it fun, make it enjoyable. There's a good balance. And you're not giving this money away to someone else, you're giving it to yourself. And that's what I had to realize when I was at a point in the process where I just thought, why am I doing this? I'm depriving myself. I'm doing the complete opposite. I'm giving myself a place to live. I'm buying myself something so substantial that not a lot of people can do. I was really young. I'm going to be young in a few years. So let me just do this now so that I can enjoy this in the long run. And not really in the long run, literally like a few years later, I was able to enjoy it. So it's all about how serious or how badly you want it. Delayed gratification, not instant gratification, because instant gratification comes and it goes. But delayed gratification is worked for and then it is enjoyed. And my speech is over. Another thing that I did was I had a piggy bank, and it's not an instant, oh my gosh, I've got £50 here in a week. Like, no, it doesn't work like that, but it's just money that you don't need to spend. Let's say you broke a £10 note while you were out for a coffee or for a meal. All of the coins that you have left back at the end of the day, just stick them in a piggy bank and get into the habit of that. Keep your piggy bank in a place that you are going to see as soon as you come into the house or go into your room. It's there, it's visible, and that will prompt you to look into your purse or your wallet. You can do just silvers or, you know, coppers. I did do just silvers, so obviously you end up saving a bit more. My brother, he's a really good saver. I've always been quite envious of his natural abilities to just save, and it's just like, oh, it's sickening, right? But he had a jar, I think it was, and he used to just save £2 coins in there, I think. Don't really know how long it was going on for, but the length of time doesn't matter because you're not saving for something, you're just saving it. So you don't have the intention of using that money, you just have the intention of clearing out your purse for the day, right? He went to go and cash that money in and it ended up being thousands of pounds. That's mental, just from saving coins. If you had a time frame of 3 years and you were saving pound coins each week, that's another way of saving. That should never ever be your ultimate and only way of saving when it comes to saving for a house. No. But it should be an extra, an added thing, because let's say it was £1,000 that you ended up saving in 3 years. The £1,000 could buy appliances for your kitchen, or it could buy you a sofa. And that was just from effortlessly clearing out your purse. Now, the key to a stress-free saving process is to make it as easy and as lazy-proof as possible. You don't want to feel like you're making this huge effort to save. Setting up a standing order towards your different accounts, if you're spreading it out, or to one specific account, is the way to go. You can choose a day just after your payday or when you expect a sum of money in every month, and that money will automatically go out of your account before you even notice it. And then what you have left in your account is for your travel, for your food, for whatever it is that you do on a monthly basis or pay for. That is what you can live off. I used to do it manually and it was a chore. I didn't like it. The feeling of looking at the amount and seeing my current account go down because I'm putting money elsewhere is not a nice feeling. It can be at times because it's like, yeah, I'm going to save £300 this month. Woohoo! But then you know what you've put in, and then you can have the tendency to say, oh, I need a bit more money. Let me go in there. I put loads more this month so I can take out. So to avoid that, standing orders are key, and you actually start to forget that you have a standing order because you don't know any more money. You will find a way to live off that money. I don't know how it works. The universe just makes it happen. Let's say you saved £500 from that 2,000. Anytime you looked at your account, you only saw £1,500. You will budget in accordance with that and you will make it work. So try and do that for yourself. Try it out for a few months. See how it works for you. If you're living very comfortably and saving that amount, try and save more. It becomes fun because it's like you're pushing yourself and challenging yourself. You're getting to the goal a lot quicker. But on the flip side, if you are saving £500 a month, a bit too difficult for you and you're having to look for money elsewhere or ask other people for money, then no, you should rewind and take a little bit back and see how you go for the next month. If I get like a freelance check or if I get like a tax refund, the first thing I think of, unfortunately, is, ooh, I can buy those shoes that I wanted. Pause. This is money that you did not have, so save that. That's like an extra, that's a bonus. That's like free money. I can speak from the experience of saving really well, and I can speak from the experience of not saving really well. And I can tell you what worked for me and what didn't work for me. Now, if you have a time frame that is really, really close, so you have looked at your budget, looked at your finances, and you think, I won't be able to get to this big sum of money, you could go down the shared ownership route. From my knowledge, a shared ownership is literally that, sharing the ownership between you and the developers or the government, whoever owns the property, and you will have a percentage of ownership in the property. You are kind of an owner, but you don't own the full property value. So should you ever wish to sell your share in the property, you will get a share subject to the percentage that you own. Does that make sense? That is better than renting, because if the property price did go up, you would have a share in that property price, in that equity from the house. Whereas if you rent, you don't own anything, you have no rights to anything. You could be living in £1 million house and that is nothing to do with you. You are just paying towards that person's mortgage. Another option to go for could be the Help to Buy equity loan, which is where the government can lend you up to 20% of the property price on a new build home only. So you will have, say, 5% and they will add on up to 20% for you. If you think of filling the gap, you've got this amount, there's a gap here because you can't save that much left, and then the rest is what you will be borrowing from the bank. Not everyone wants to buy a house. Buying a property and being a homeowner is not for everyone. But if it is something you want to do, I suggest you jump on it now before it gets really difficult. It is already difficult right now. If it's not your intention to buy a home until you get married, save towards it anyway, because you know you're then in a position to also provide money and come together with your partner. It's always going to be easier to buy a property with two people, but I'm just Miss Independent Jade and I decided to buy a property now. If you are a young lady or a young man and you're in a position to buy a property now, I personally would not suggest waiting for anyone else. I would buy now, and at the end of the day, what you buy now can aid you for that house or property you are going to buy with your partner, right? I know that the UK in particular places a lot of importance on buying property. That's probably because there's so much money in property in this country, and I know that in many other countries that's not really important. You just rent and it's fine. But if you live in the UK, you'd understand what I mean when I'm saying like buying a property now is important, or as soon as you can rather than later. Remember guys, all the saving that you are doing now is only for the benefit of yourself and to aid you in your future. I hope that this video has been informative for you and a good kick to get yourself into gear. We're still in January, just about, and it's not too late to get started and start new habits for the rest of the year. Please leave your comments down below as to what you would like to see me do, and remember to subscribe so you don't miss out on the good things that are coming. Take care and go and start saving. Bye.